I wanted to show you how you can turn a Hero Forge mini, such as my character Caden you see in front of me here today, into kind of a top-down token that you can use in a virtual tabletop like Foundry VTT or Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds or anything else. Essentially, we're looking at creating something that looks like this, but there's a couple tweaks that we can do to make things look better, and I'll show you that process for importing from Hero Forge using a free Photoshop-esque tool called Photopea, and then importing it into Foundry Virtual Tabletop. All right, so first of all, this is Caden. He's got some fire on a sword and a dagger. From the top down, first of all, I'm going to try to adjust his pose. I don't like that I can't see that fire quite as well when we look down. So I've gone into Pose, Advanced, and I'm going to click on his sword, and we can do things like adjust the direction of his fire. I'm also going to kind of focus his nose, his face pointing downwards. And I'm going to adjust the wrist of his dagger just a little bit, see if I can't make it look. Yeah, I think that'll work well. Now, the main thing that we want to do while we're in Hero Forge is we want to go to Base, and we want to click on this bar right here, the slot base, because that gets rid of the vast majority of things that we want to be able to edit out later. So we're going to turn it just like that. Perfect. Now that we have it, let's grab, I don't know, snipping tool. That works. We'll say new snipping tool, new snipping tool, and we'll drag a box around Caden. Perfect. We've got it. All right, so I'm going to put this aside for a moment. Photopea.com. This is the next thing that we want to use. Photopea.com. This can do all kinds of editing, and it's really simple editing that we're going to be doing. So I've got my snipping tool thing here. I'm going to say copy right there. I'm going to go back to Photopea and go Control V to paste, and there we go. So now we want to remove all that background color. So I'm going to go to the magic wand selection. I'm going to select the background color, and I'll hit the delete key. Gone. Now, is there any... There's a little bit of that background color there. Any others? Don't think so. None anywhere else that I can see. That looks good. So this is... Oh, wait, we've got that little bit of the silver bar underneath of him. So I can select that. I can delete. Magic wand isn't doing the trick, so I'm just going to go to the eraser, and I'm going to select, deselect. I don't want anything selected. There we go. And I'm just going to erase. You can always hit Control Z if you make a mistake. That is good enough. I mean, no one is going to be looking at that really closely. Now, one of the things I like to do, this is not necessary, but I think it works a little bit better. It adds some steps later, but I think it improves it overall, is I want to kind of center Caden's head in the square. So right now, if you were to look at that square there, you would, if you were to rotate Caden, his head would kind of be shifting around the box as you turned your character. So I kind of want his head to be centered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the whole canvas just bigger for a second. Let's say 2000 pixels by 2000 pixels. Okay. And I'm going to drag a couple rulers. You can just drag from the top and drag from the side. And that's kind of, yeah, we'll say that's about the center of where I want him to rotate. And now I'm going to just draw a box around him. Now we've got a free box here. Kind of try to make it, I'm going to hold down Shift so that it makes it a completely square box. And it's about right for a second. So let's just try to adjust this. And now as I drag this box around, you'll see it highlight when it's centered. Now that box wasn't big enough because it cut off some of this. So I'm going to make a slightly bigger box. Hold down Shift again. I'm sure there are Photoshop people out there who can tell me a much better way to do this, but this is how I do it. All right, there we go. Our box now contains everything, and it's centered on those ruler marks that we made earlier. So I'm going to say crop. And there we go. So now our character is centered in this box, which is great. Now, when we make this 5x5 box if you can imagine that this is one box on your VTT grid, this character is going to be a little bit small in it, but we can adjust that. We can increase his size later on. I'll show you how to do that. So let's first of all go File, Export as PNG. And I'm just going to use whatever settings are there. Click Save, and it has downloaded my PNG file. All right. If I wanted to find that file now, do I have that? Yeah, so it's in my downloads. That's perfect. And I can open it and see it there. Okay, I am going to go to my installation of Foundry VTT. All right, so this is my Foundry VTT installation. We're going to go to this pocket dimension. You can see there's some example ones I've done already. Maps by an edited map I made from, I think it's CZE and PEKU. Can't remember their exact. There's some assets here from Forgotten Adventures and various things. So let's go to our character. In this case, I've created a character here called Caden. Now what you want to do, in case you are not aware, there's two ways you can edit a token. If I was to just double click a token that's already on the map, I'm only editing that specific token that's already on the map, meaning this token here, Marin. If I edit this token, it only edits that token there. If I drag Marin from the side here back onto the map, Marin right here, those changes I have made to the token won't have taken effect because this is kind of what we call the prototype over here. And any changes I make on the map itself don't count towards things that are over here on the side. So what we want to do is actually change what's called the prototype token. So for an example, if I was to open Marin here, there's just a token icon here. If I was to open Marin here on the right-hand side, you see prototype token. If you want to make a change that's going to affect all tokens for all time, or affect that character sheet or that NPC for all time, whenever you place that token on the map, you always want to adjust the prototype token. So we're going to go to Caden. We're going to edit his prototype token. And I don't even need that anymore. We are going to go to Image, pick a new file. You can tell me off for having messy file structure later. I'm going to choose a file at the bottom here. There's our saved PNG. I'm going to open it. It's selected, and I'm going to say Select File. So it has been updated once we click the Update button. So we'll click Update Token, and I'll drag Caden onto the map. And we can see that Caden is dead. Now we can see that this is the token that we created. Now it is a little bit small. It might be perfect for a halfling, for example, but we can now adjust this token size. Again, if we want to adjust just this token, we can edit this token. If we want to adjust all tokens in the future, we want to make sure we open the prototype token. So let's go to Caden sheet over here, prototype token, and we go to Image, 1 square by 1 square. That's perfect. That's for a medium-sized creature. But we can adjust our scale here. So we're going to up it to say 1.5 for a second and say Update Token. Now that token hasn't changed. Let's draw a new one on. Perfect. Actually, that's a pretty good size. And I'm going to get rid of that old one. So now any token I drag on here, because we adjusted the prototype token, it's already coming through at that 1.5 scale, which is great. Now I'll show you, I did this a bunch already with other tokens from Hero Forge as well. I've made a number of different versions and trying out different things, different style of flames. But one of the things I like to do is I kind of compare you know, how does it fit compared to my other tokens that I've created? And that's pretty good, I think. It doesn't immediately strike me as too big or too small or anything. And I actually like that the sword kind of goes outside the edge a little bit. Perfect for fighting things and kind of making it jump out a little bit at you. So anyways, I hope this has been helpful. Hopefully see you soon.